She just is a deeply unpleasant person. J.Lo does not have a reputation for being a nice, normal person.
The studio was alive with flashing lights, whirring cameras, and the electric energy that only appears when a top-tier celebrity walks in. Audiences expected charm, charisma, and that unmistakable glow of glamour. Instead, what unfolded was something entirely unexpected.
I actually feel bad right now because I feel like we're turning a point where there's like bullying happening to J.Lo, and I don't want to add to that.
When Jennifer Lopez arrived, the energy in the room shifted, and not in the way anyone anticipated. Conversations among the crew came to an abrupt halt. An uneasy tension rippled through the studio as nervous glances moved quickly from one person to another. Though she carried herself with unmistakable confidence, Jennifer radiated a chilling aloofness. There were no friendly greetings, no casual small talk, nothing to blend into the usual backstage buzz. Most celebrities tend to arrive with a mix of smiles and nerves, but Jennifer moved through the space like a sovereign surveying her realm, her expression making it clear she wasn't there to make friends. Whispers circulated that she was tough, but seeing it up close was a different experience entirely. The tension was palpable, almost tangible, leaving everyone momentarily stunned. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us grow and allows us to share more gripping stories like this. Back to the moment. Jennifer's demeanor and the bold way she owned it left everyone astonished. This wasn't stage fright or shyness, it was deliberate, a statement of unmistakable self-assurance. She knew her presence commanded attention, and the sudden shift in atmosphere made the scene even more striking. Typically, the set of The View hums with laughter and chatter behind the cameras. On screen, the pace is lively, but the moment Jennifer stepped in, the mood darkened, transforming the once familiar energy into something unexpectedly intense.
I have a bad J.Lo story too. I mean, she came on The View many times as a guest. Not my favorite.
Even the most talkative crew members avoided her gaze, their voices dropping to cautious whispers. She didn't need to yell or show anger. Her presence alone created a wall of icy distance. What made it most striking was that no one saw it coming. Everyone expected a little banter, a joke, a friendly comment to the makeup artist, or even a compliment on someone's outfit. None of that happened. Jennifer seemed to have built an invisible barrier, separating herself entirely from those around her. And she didn't even attempt to be approachable. She appeared completely uninterested in interacting with anyone, which was shocking for someone scheduled to appear live on a show watched by millions. Even on off days, most guests try to blend in. But Jennifer didn't. Her composure suggested she simply didn't need to, leaving everyone unsettled. Long after she left, the chill of her presence lingered, affecting the entire crew. It wasn't just an isolated incident or a bad day. It felt like the foundation of her behavior, and that realization startled everyone. As time went on, rumors about her demeanor spread beyond the studio. Online discussions flared while the crew continued processing that intense energy. Clips from her interview drew widespread attention, often critical. Unlike other celebrity guests who typically brought warmth and humor, she came across as distant and rigid, prompting a wave of disapproval from viewers.
I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this, but my big memory of J.Lo is there was a person whose entire job was to hold up a mirror with lights while they were touching her up backstage.
She had it taken down for like terms of violation for bullying, allegedly.
Criticism kept mounting, growing louder with each passing day. In the midst of all the excitement, she suddenly cut short her entire performance tour, sparking endless speculation. Fans and media alike began probing what was really happening behind the scenes. Some pointed to rumored relationship troubles, while others questioned her ability to handle the pressure. Those who had witnessed her behavior on set couldn't help but notice a pattern. They had seen this icy side before, and it created a curious divide. Despite her fame, her reputation was taking a hit. Where admiration once existed, skepticism had begun to creep in. The whispers were no longer just rumors, they were reshaping public perception. To anyone who had observed her closely, it was clear this was not a passing phase, but a reality. As if that weren't enough, an unexpected event intensified the chaos. A brief behind-the-scenes clip of her backstage behavior went viral, fueling the online storm. This wasn't hearsay or vague speculation, it was an eyewitness account. The person recounting it described the shock in the room during the incident. Jennifer was receiving a quick touch-up backstage from someone whose only task was to hold a mirror with lights so she could monitor herself while her glam squad worked. This assistant didn't style her hair or apply makeup. They simply held the mirror like a human prop, silently witnessing her commanding presence.
I don't want to be loved by everybody. I understand you asked her two really important questions.
People could hardly believe what they were hearing. It seemed almost too extreme, even by Hollywood standards. The reaction was explosive. The debate quickly sparked online. Was this level of indulgence a sign of strength or simply a display of detachment? Some argued it showed her commanding presence. Others claimed it reflected her disengagement. Thousands shared the post until it mysteriously disappeared. The situation worsened when the site was temporarily taken down amid reports of online harassment. Speculation ran rampant. What was she trying to hide, and why had it vanished? When the post eventually returned, it was already too late. The image of that mirror, held carefully for her as if it were a crown jewel, had already imprinted itself in everyone's minds. What began as a seemingly minor backstage moment evolved into a symbol, a visual representation of her aura of invulnerability. But the story didn't stop there. When the eyewitness shared another revelation, the drama escalated further. Allegedly, members of her own team had quietly removed and flagged their original post, adding yet another layer of intrigue to the saga. The mirror soon became secondary to the bigger story. It seemed as though someone was deliberately trying to steer the conversation, attempting to make sure critical whispers never spread, and that only fueled more suspicion. The removal wasn't the fans' doing. Reports suggested her team had stepped in to manage the fallout before it spiraled. Despite their efforts, the clip went viral across other platforms before it was finally re-uploaded. Screenshots, comments, and memes circulated everywhere, and every attempt to suppress it only strengthened the story. It was as if the secret demanded to be seen, and the world was listening. For many, this marked a turning point. This wasn't merely a diva moment anymore. It became a cautionary tale of a famous individual carefully controlling her image, correcting even the smallest perceived flaw. Fans and viewers began scrutinizing her every move, waiting for the slightest slip. The drama gained even more weight because she stood in sharp contrast to other celebrities who had been on the same set. Kim Kardashian, for example, became a frequent point of comparison. Kim's approach was entirely different. She smiled, chatted easily with staff, complimented the makeup artist, and joked with producers. Watching the contrast made Jennifer's aloofness all the more striking.
My experience, and I was a host at The View, it was not nice. She was not nice, okay? And I'm like, whatever. You don't always have to be so nice, but it was just surprising given that people like Kim Kardashian couldn't be more delightful. She had the biggest entourage I've ever seen, like of a celebrity. More than Kim Kardashian and more than the president. Like I've never seen, and I just don't really understand why it was.
She gave the impression of wanting to be present despite her fame, but it didn't land. While Kim appeared approachable and friendly, Jennifer came across as aloof and distant, her icy aura amplified by the contrast. It wasn't just her silence, it was the unmistakable sense of superiority she carried. Backstage, the difference became the subject of whispered conversations. If someone as famous as Kim could spend a few minutes showing genuine kindness, why couldn't Jennifer? It wasn't about being overly cheerful or performative, it was about simply being human. That was the most jarring part. She wasn't the type anyone would choose as a friend, and her presence made the room feel strangely tense. Then came her entourage, a spectacle that remains talked about to this day. The sheer scale felt almost theatrical. When she stepped out of the elevator, a small army of personal managers, stylists, security, assistants, and other staff moved in precise synchronization, shuffling equipment, making space, whispering instructions. The enormity of it stunned everyone. Most celebrity guests arrived with just a few handlers or a PR representative, yet her team rivaled the complexity of a full-scale operation. Some even joked that it resembled a presidential security detail, claiming it outmatched Kim Kardashian's own entourage.
For women in this country, it's important to know that you don't just have to talk about light things all the time. Yeah. You can do it all. And I always say we're like the only show that'll talk about like J.Lo and A-Rod and North Korea in the same show. And I think that's...
Her followers filled every inch of the hallway while she remained encased in a protective bubble that no one dared enter. The studio, usually a smoothly running hive of activity, now felt crowded and tense. Crew members had to carefully squeeze past bodyguards just to adjust lights or move cables. It wasn't merely practical, it was almost like a statement, announcing her importance long before she stepped onto the stage. She didn't blend into the energy of the live show, she dominated it. The View felt secondary, and that left an uneasy impression. People couldn't stop asking themselves, why would anyone need so much protection for a 10-minute interview? It wasn't just the entourage, it was the mindset behind it. Even when famous guests are nervous or tired, most try to adapt to the fast-paced, unpredictable nature of the show. with smiles, conversation, and lighthearted interaction. Jennifer didn't attempt any of that. The host had hoped for at least a spark of connection in those pre-live moments, but she sat aloof, barely engaging, as if enduring the experience rather than participating. She was supposed to radiate warmth without being over the top or fake, but when that didn't happen, everyone felt off balance.
But I'm saying,
well, with all due respect, I don't care if he's apologizing. He just embarrassed himself.
I don't care that you don't care. Just hear what I'm saying.
I don't care that you don't care.
We're going to go. We're going to go. Well, then good, Meghan. Then you can be how you always are. We'll be right back.
You can be how you always are.
The timing of her arrival, unlike the usual pace of the show, made everything feel off. The View thrives on jokes, debates, playful banter, and occasional arguments. The energy depends on active interaction. It's designed to be entertaining, but with her entrance, the lively atmosphere seemed to collapse. Even as the host tried to preserve the familiar buzz, her detached demeanor cast a shadow as if someone had switched off the lights. Questions began circulating silently. Did she think the show was beneath her, or did she simply not want to be there? That sense of indifference lingered throughout her stay, settling over the room like an invisible weight. Drama isn't unusual for The View. The co-hosts are known for their fiery disagreements and clashing opinions, often sparring for a moment before breaking into laughter. That chaos is part of what makes the show addictive, but this felt different. Sparks usually fly around the table and the hosts embrace it as part of the job. Her appearance, however, wasn't thrilling or dramatic. It was uncomfortable. Everyone seemed focused on getting through the segment without drawing her attention or upsetting her. Even the co-hosts, normally fearless in their on-air arguments, were unusually quiet, careful with every word. Backstage, the silence was equally unsettling. After a heated episode, staff usually buzz with energy, reliving moments and joking about the chaos, but not this time. When she finally left, there was no sense of relief. Everyone simply went back to their routines, exhausted and uneasy. The moment didn't explode into drama. Instead, it lingered in memory because of its weight and silence. It was as if she had drained the room of its usual energy, and that quiet spoke louder than any argument ever could on a show built on passion and emotion. Appearing on The View isn't meant to feel so intense. Typically, the process is simple. Spend 10 minutes smiling, answering a few questions, and promoting your project. Many guests admit they put on a brave face for just a few minutes, even if they're tired or worried. But her behavior defied expectations. Rather than matching the show's energy, she acted as if she didn't have to. There was no attempt at even basic courtesy, no charm, no effort to engage with the host or the audience. It was clear she would rather be elsewhere, and the backstage crew could hardly comprehend it. Projecting a positive attitude for 10 minutes doesn't require acting or exaggeration. Other celebrities had done it effortlessly. Her refusal to do so sent a message. This wasn't just aloofness, it was a deliberate statement, one that left a lasting impression on everyone who witnessed it. She made it unmistakably clear that she wouldn't be following the usual rules, and it seemed she didn't care who she inconvenienced along the way. That bold, unapologetic energy lingered in everyone's memory long after the moment had passed. For those who witnessed it firsthand, recalling it now feels as vivid as ever. They speak with total certainty, without hesitation, describing how tense and uncomfortable the room felt. This wasn't shyness or a bad day. She didn't attempt to be polite, approachable, or even minimally sociable. For someone accustomed to seeing countless celebrities navigate the studio, it was extraordinary. Most guests, even when surrounded by exhausted, stressed, or anxious staff, make an effort to be courteous, if only for a few minutes. She didn't. She carried herself with an unmistakable air of superiority, as if everyone else were inconsequential. That energy wasn't fleeting, it stuck, coloring the room in a way that was impossible to ignore. Her aloofness wasn't limited to her interactions with staff. It radiated toward everyone present. No one seemed worthy of her time, and that had a tangible impact on an environment usually defined by high-pressure chaos mixed with lighthearted energy. Crew members, hosts, and even fellow celebrities found themselves reevaluating their impressions, questioning what they thought they knew about the polished image of fame. It was a stark contrast to the persona the public typically sees, a version of her that was intense, cold, and unforgettable. For anyone observing, it became more than a backstage story. It was a lesson in presence, power, and perception, showing that even brief encounters could leave a lasting mark. The incident, the tension, and the deliberate distance all combined into a memory that refuses to fade. If you enjoyed this story, Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you at the next one.